This is your boy Chili Willie, ECW original, everybody's favorite homeboy. And yo, you need to check out the Big Fight.
This is Liam McGarry, and welcome to the Big Fight Weekly.
A warm welcome to Powered4.tv Big Fight Weekly, episode 33, with myself, Stuart Palmer, and my co-host and cousin, Chris Hume. How are we, Chris?
I'm good, mate. I'm good.
And we're going to get right into it. We have got UFC coming up later. We've got previews as well. But the huge news of the weekend into this week is obviously Fury winning in the 11th round emphatically over Deontay Wilder, Chris. And what a fight. What a fight.
It was like a roller coaster, wasn't it? You know, I don't know what your nerves or your heart rate was like. I'm always like this when it's like a big UK fight. I think I was like this for Bisping and Rockhold, and my heart was going 10 to the dozen. But I was all right. You know, Fury came out in a spot and where didn't he? Come out to ACDC. I love that. I was all up, pumped. But as soon as they marched up to each other, went back into the corners, mate, my nerves just went all over the place. But what a roller coaster of emotions, though. You know, we had Wilder coming out so different in the first round with the jabs to the body, and he was so patient and he was setting it up. And and Fury was just backing off. You're just about getting away from those body punches. But at that point, you think, Christ, because we saw in the second fight, Fury went straight at him, and it was just like, where's this going? It took a round for Fury to figure it out. And then, that shot he hit Wilder in the last bit of the second round changed the complex of the fight then. I think Wilder really stopped using his body shots, didn't he? And then came straight at Fury, with that rocket of a right hand. And, that third round was the tell, wasn't it? It started like this explosion of people getting dropped. Fury was really good in that third round. The movement and his head movement back and forwards, trying to sort of work his way into Wilder, and then he drops him with that right hook. And then you're elated, aren't you? Thinking, right, this is it. Fury's going to go on now and destroy him. But in the fourth round, Fury sort of changed his way. He put his guard up like that, and he was going, towards Wilder. On the aggressor, trying to get that finish, and he got caught flush right on the forehead. Did you see his neck push back, gets dropped? And then I think for you and everybody else watching this who watched the fight, I think you've got that like a panic button, haven't you? And you've hit it.
I thought he was gone. I thought he was a goner. I really did. But he's never been hit so hard than in that first fight. When he got put down, everyone thought he was gone.
Totally agree.
So it was almost as if he had his wits about him, didn't he? Even though he grounded him and he did it twice. But I did have that sinking feeling at the same time. Is he going to be all right? Is Wilder going to put him down for a third time? And that'll be all she wrote. But going back to what you were saying, the body punching early on, he had moderate success with that, didn't he? Like you said, wasn't much power coming from that. He went back to what he knows. And this was what we were questioning with Malik Scott coming in as trainer. How can you change him? And he just reverted back to type, didn't he, Chris? Because I think he felt, I can't do this. So I'm going to go back to what I've been trained for,
Yeah, I said this to you last week, though. How long is it going to be until he reverts back to being a power puncher? Fury is a boxer. Deontay Wilder is a fighter. Two completely different aspects of boxing. But Wilder has that equalizer, and we saw that in the fourth round. And he used it twice and used it fantastically. He dropped Fury. There was that complaint, and I've seen it with a lot of Deontay Wilder's American friends over obviously in the States on YouTube, complaining that the count for the second knockdown was too slow. No. I myself didn't see that. Fury wasn't knocked out. He wasn't all over the place. He got up and he was fine, carried on with the fight. But after that, I mean, you saw Wilder was shot then. You know, those two big punches he hit Fury with, and then he went with, well, using the word Fury, but he went, you know, with Fury, at Fury, trying to get him out in that 4th round, and blew his load at that point.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Unbelievable. It's just typical Fury, isn't it? And also, I think we've got to allude to the fact he's using his body weight when they're in that clinch and they were close up. Now, we did speak about this briefly last week, didn't we, about this, that was he going to go up to this 300 pounds that he said? Like you said, Chris, Fury was heavy breathing. You said off camera, didn't you? So thankfully, I think we know he can't go over the 277 marker for the next fights.
Definitely not. I think he's safe. As we spoke off camera, you know, your 270s, your 265, your 260s. I think that he put a bit too much weight on, but obviously, you know, he has a lot going on, you know, prior to, you know, the fight with Wilder, with, you know, with his kid being in hospital not well. And it's a distraction if you're a parent. It is. And you do get distracted no matter how much you want to sort of zone yourself out and, you know, just look at your opponent. But going back to the fight, Stuart, after that 4th round, you know, the first couple of minutes to the 5th round, he gets himself back in his sort of his motion, doesn't he? The wheels start turning again for Fury, and then he starts doing what he did in the second fight, picking him apart, getting behind that jab, using his footwork, his head movement, pushing Wilder up against the ropes. And the clinch work of Fury was absolutely brilliant. You know, dirty boxing, as you say, again, putting his weight on. And people complaining that Wilder was getting put in the headlock by Fury. But when if you watch it, Wilder puts his head down. So Fury's obviously naturally going, okay, you go into that. I'll just, you know, put a bit of weight on you.
Absolutely.
Tricks of the trade, though. It's tricks of the trade.
How can these apologists for Wilder even say about that? It's within the rules. The ref will pull them apart when it's been going on a bit too long, won't he? And if he's not happy with it, he's using all facets of the boxing game there, Chris.
But that's what you got to do to win, though. You're the bigger guy. Use all your assets in it, and you know, abuse them if you have to.
Absolutely.
But let's go into the third knockout, well, the 4th knockout of the fight, should we say? You know, it was again clever piece of work by Fury. Actually, before I go into that, I'm going to say, like, you know, I'm not going to bash Wilder completely here. Now you'll agree here, Stuart. Wilder showed a lot of heart. He showed he had a granite chin. I didn't like the end of the non-sportsmanship at the end, and I think he should have shook Fury's hand and said, you know, you bested me on the night. I think it is what it is, but
he realizes now that it's ended. I think that's the realization that, you know, there won't be a 4th fight, which might have happened had he come through it. I would say it was his best performance since the first fight. I would say,
I totally agree.
But he was waning himself. He put weight on. You know, he's a gangly frame for his size, isn't he? He struggled, but that weight, that became a factor, that extra muscle, didn't it, Chris?
He's got thin legs. I know Fury's got thin legs, but Fury's got that, you know, tall body sort of structure, hasn't he? So he can hold that weight, where Deontay Wilder has got, you know, quite toothpicky legs, hasn't he? You know what I mean? I won't say too much because he could, you know, knock my head off.
You wouldn't want him in front of you now, would you?
No, I couldn't even run away anymore. But yeah, he just couldn't carry that weight. But, you know what I mean? He hits with so much power that is going to take a lot out of you constantly. But, you know, when you've got Fury backing you up, you know, pot shotting you constantly, and then getting you in the clinch, putting that weight on you, uppercutting you. But, you know, Wilder had moments. Wilder came back in the 9th round, right in that corner. What was about a minute left, and, you know, he caught and wobbled Fury. But then I think clever Fury, and this might be just my opinion, everyone else can have their own opinion. I think Fury let him then unload. If you watch it back, he hits him in the shoulder, hits him across the head. There wasn't much power in Fury, Wilder then at that point, because he was spent, wasn't he? But, you know, he still got to be careful of that right hand. But, you know, you let him use all that energy he had left, and then that 11th round, we come into 11th round, and then he just puts it on him, hits him with that right hook. Night, Wilder, you know. But what a fight. One of the best fights, you know,
unbelievable,
I've watched in a very, very long time.
I've heard old school people in America who've watched, you know, the boxing since 60s, 70s, 80s, 90s, you know, a hell of a time, you know, when you encapsulate that period of time. And even they're saying it's one of the greatest fights of all time. It had everything. They really saved the best for last. They showcased everything they did. Chris, do you want to roll to the VT with Fury post-fight?
Yeah, and then we'll get to your comments, and then we'll
Absolutely,
move on to the next one for you.
Good thinking on the comments, absolutely.
Okay, this is Tyson Fury after the fight.
Tyson, round 4, what was going through your mind after those 2 knockdowns?
Not a great deal. You go swimming and you're going to get wet. You mess with fire long enough, you'll get burnt. You know, I've had 3 fights with the biggest puncher in the history of my sport, in my division, and he caught me. You know, he caught me twice in the 4th round. But I was never like thinking, oh, this is over. I was thinking, okay, good shot, but I will get you back in a minute, and I did. I was very conscious. Saw the ref go 3, 4, and I was always there. You know, he shook me, he put me down, and that's boxing. And it's life as well. It's not about how many times you get put down or how many times you lose or win. It's about how you can come back and keep getting back up and keep moving forward. Like Rocky said, you've got to keep moving forward and in a positive manner and keep fighting. Not just in a boxing fight, but in life in general, because nothing's ever going to be easy. If you want something that's very hard to get, you've got to sacrifice and dedicate and keep pushing no matter what. And never let anybody tell you you can't. Because tonight, again, time and time again, I show that it's very possible to achieve anything you ever want as long as you believe it in here.
As per usual, well put.
I like that. Inspirational, isn't it? Using Rocky as well. Is it Rocky 4's comment he says to his son outside the shop, innit? Yeah, good stuff. Go on, Stu, you were saying.
Yeah, just how he endears himself to the public, you know, the mental health side and all that, and how, you know, he makes you feel part of him, doesn't he? You know, and it gives everyone hope, doesn't it, when you see a man who's at the top of the sport saying that, you know, he it's very true to life, isn't it? You know, let's take the boxing out of it. You know, people can relate to people can relate to him because he makes himself human, doesn't he? As much as he's got, you know, the sport, you know, sports star lifestyle and all that comes with it, the celebrity, that's what's endeared him the most, his personality. Before you even see him fight.
Yeah, you've watched Wolf of Wall Street, haven't you? And that whole, you know, they do that one of us. That's what you feel like when you watch Tyson Fury when he speaks, because you do feel like you know he's one of us. He's, you know what I mean? He's showing you that you don't need a chiseled, muscly body to be a boxer. You know what I mean? You just have to have that IQ, that technical ability, and you can do whatever you want to do. And he's an inspiration. You know, mental health, me and you both suffer with it, and you know he's a good guy to look up to. And you know, as he says, if you want something hard, you got to get it. So.
Absolutely.
You know.
Have we got your firing at the comments? I can tell.
I can. I'm going to show you up some now.
P. Leighton. He bashed Wilder up good and proper. Few scares, but Wilder, make no mistake, in any other era would be the man. He would destroy AJ with them early combos he gave Tyson, but Fury is a legend. Chris, basically what you were saying, if it did lead to AJ and Wilder, what would happen? You and Pete seem to be on the same thing with it.
I've said to you this many a times when we've covered Anthony Joshua, and I've said to this before we even started the show ages ago. I feel like, you know, as much as good as Joshua can be and is, I still got that suspect chin, and he does get hit a lot, and you can't get hit a lot by Deontay Wilder. I'll move on again because Pete again.
Pete again. Great to have you back on as well, Pete. We love your comments. I think Wilder would smash AJ, Ruiz, and Usyk personally. As Tyson said, he is number 2.
Yeah, I agree. He did say that, you know, he did his running order after the fight. I don't know if you see it. He said he's at the top of the mountain, then it's Deontay Wilder. Okay, and he had Joshua behind Deontay Wilder. I do agree. As we just said then, Deontay Wilder, no matter, okay, he's not as a technical boxer as Fury, he can hit you. I just don't know if Joshua could take that power. I just don't. Andy Ruiz hits hard, and he was managed to stop Anthony Joshua in their first fight. Just imagine if Deontay Wilder can, you know, land that sweet, you know, right hand to the chin or to the side of the temple. And this is our good friend Brett.
Hello, Brett. Hello, you've been with us from day one, mate. Jake Paul said Tyson could get a fight with him after that fight. So good news for Tyson there. I'd be interested to compare numbers to that fight to Logan and Floyd just to see who would be aside. So a little bit more from him, is that?
Yeah.
Logan has to be the A side in the Mike Tyson fight. Let me show you numbers, gents. His exhibition match against Roy Jones Jr. on November 28 sold more than 650,000 pay-per-view buys, priced at $49.49. Right, okay. Logan versus Floyd did over 1.8 million, priced at $59.99. And before you say it was Floyd's last fight before Logan did 400,000. So he didn't draw, and Logan and KSI did 1.6 million on Matchroom. Right? Okay. Floyd was up against the Japanese kid.
Sure, he fought Connor before the Logan fight, and that made more money than Logan and Floyd. Just so you know, Brett.
I think he's alluding to the Japanese dude as well, though, the exhibition, isn't he? But yeah, Chris.
In Dream. Yeah, but that was make any sense.
That was low key. The build up to that.
That was a cash grab, Stuart. If I didn't see
there wasn't much to that in terms of promotion for that one. Yeah, you knew about it, but it wasn't pushed to the hill, was it?
And also, Brett, Logan and KSI have previous, don't they? They both have massive YouTube following. I know they've buried a hatchet now, but they're always going to get 1.6.
Yeah.
They're always going to get millions.
Good stats. Good stats, though, Brett. That was good, that. Mike Tyson is irrelevant compared to Logan Paul in 2021. The man retired Floyd in his last fight. He's a warrior.
Okay.
The staunch Paul fan that you are, Brett, absolutely. I'd like to see Jake Paul take out AJ as well.
No.
Carnage Pain. We haven't had you on for a long time, mate. Welcome back. Jesus, Brett. You need to just go live with them boys. Brett, what do you think to that?
Yeah, Brett would love that, though, Brett. Look at all the points you can have there, mate.
Absolutely. Steve Monkman, who's been with us for quite a while now as well, 2 points. I thought Tyson was incredible, and I know everyone is banging on about Wilder, but remember 3 years ago where they both were before first fight. Wilder isn't good enough to beat Tyson. Yeah, it's proven now.
After 3 fights, yeah.
And can I just say as well, remember this was obviously put together at the last minute, wasn't it? Because of contracts. Remember all the uproar about this? Because we thought we were getting Joshua and Fury, didn't we?
Yeah,
and I think they have actually delivered. I think a lot of the naysayers saying, why was there a third fight? Well, it's proven that they've had the best fight in the third.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, and that's a Hall of Fame fight now, Stuart.
There was a lot of uproar. But no, now they've quelled all that. Steve Muntman, next point. Why can't the boxing officials, WBC, WBA, IBF, B&Q, and ever stop Paul from ever getting a license to box again? They are hurting boxing.
I tell you what, Stuart, I reckon Logan and Jake Paul, being the thick Americans they all were, they'd probably get lost in B&Q, down the bowl aisle or something.
I mean, they do have Home Depot in America, among others. But that'll be a big store.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Oh my days, B&Q, ICI. It's like Del Boy, and he fools in it when he's trying to sell stuff. Pete Layton just felt Wilder is second best heavyweight and will destroy AJ of Usyk with those combos in first rounds. Just that Tyson is an incredible boxer and must go down as one of the greats.
Yeah, I have to agree. Considering what he's had to go through to get back to where he was. Yeah.
I think, but the problem here is AJ and Usyk, the second fight, if we do see this in February, which is looking likely, isn't it, in Ukraine, I think it'll be Usyk and Wilder next, unless Wilder has a tune-up in between. But who would you put him in there with?
What, Wilder? Well, why don't you go Ruiz and Wilder then? Or Dillian White? Dillian White.
I think if Dillian White can can take out Otto Wallin early, which isn't going to be easy because Fury had problems with him. They cut him out. If he can get him out early and they can get, like you say, get it timeline where he can get him next, maybe. Pete Layton, Tyson, unlike both AJ and Wilder for some time, both ducked the big fights. Only reason Wilder faced Tyson first was because he saw bad shape he was in, but Tyson took Klitschko prime, not AJ Klitschko. Yeah. Because it was like another 2 years until Joshua had Klitschko, where he was winding down, wasn't he? Tyson fought Klitschko when he was still, very prevalent. Absolutely. Elsa Kano, how are you? Best heavyweight fight of the year, maybe a few years I've seen. That was really good. Yeah, many people are raving about it. Yeah, it was absolutely fantastic. Rachel Cornell, hello, can't stay for live, has got work. Hope everyone is doing well. Nice to see you, Brett. Hi, Stu and Chris. Hope you both well. Hello, Rachel. Yeah,
it's nice to see you, Rachel.
Yeah. Thank you for your comments. And work sometimes gets in the way, doesn't it? Bet Thomas, I'm still backing the polls. Jake unbeaten like Tyson Fury, and so is Logan. You stick to your guns. Yeah. We can't knock you for that. You know, Dan, Terra Sports Inc. Hi all. Thought Wilder lost physically and mentally overall. Yeah, I agree. He has big shots, but he doesn't have the skills. We knew that beforehand, to be fair. He smashed Tyson down, but next round, he hung back trying to get his energy again. It was putting that weight on. He was the heaviest he was. Look, he looked amazing, top half his body, the muscle. But you think of muscle mass, it's what we spoke about last week, wasn't it, Chris? It could be problematic for him.
But he also, like I said to you, it's spending that energy and throwing that big punch because you know what I mean. Yeah. He winds it up. It's not like it's thrown, but he winds it up, doesn't he? So you got to think of carrying that weight and having to put all that power in that punch. It's one of them. You know what I mean? He'll learn from it.
Absolutely. Steve Mentman, and beating brothers. Brett, I can't wait until Jake fights Tommy. I can't either, Steve. They're gonna make that. Lewis Young up in Scotland there. All right, Lewis. What did you think? Because I said to you to predict last week, Lewis, and you said first round KO. So what were your thoughts of the fight, Lewis? I'd like to hear what you thought about it. Heels rules. Just wanted to say to whoever is the main people at Power 4, all the platform is bloody brill. 9 out of 10. Just wish you had easy ways to stay logged in. Keeps logging me out. Speak to John and Rich and message them on Power 4 on the socials, maybe Heels rules. To find out. The chapter decides to it. That's brilliant. I love the platform. Pete Layton, Sod UFC, LOL. That fight deserves full attention. I think Chris will have something to say about this, Pete.
No. Listen, Pete, Sod UFC this weekend. Yes, that I can hold my hands up, mate. This weekend and the next weekend's this weekend's card, aren't that great. But if you hold fire, I've got a schedule of UFC's coming up fights later on in the show, and you know what I mean. Don't be pulling away from it.
They are saving it for the fall, as they call it in the US, with those cards. Absolutely. Powered for entertainment. While crazy busy in here today. Heard there was a bowls match in Vegas past weekend. It's John Scott. John Scott, one of the head honchos at Powered 4. Yeah, the bowls in Vegas, mate. Bloody hell. Ramel Panseals, hello, mate, from the Philippines. Hope you're well. I'm sure you enjoyed the fight as well, Ramel. It was brilliant. It was so good.
Yeah. Ramel, I'd like to hear your thoughts. Or actually, no, I see them in the chat. Don't worry.
Brilliant. Carnage Pain. What about the WWE champion Big E being there doing intros? LOL. It was very WWE like coming to the ring. Stu, do you see Tyson back at Mania next year to do a match with Lesnar, money and that? It could happen, but I think he's going to be fully fledged now, cleaning out the people he hasn't fought. And Big E, the reason he was involved with it, Fox, wasn't it? Fox were part of the thing. Obviously, SmackDown's on Fox, so they tied it in. It was good. It was good the way they did that, though.
You've got a lot of UFC guys who are involved in the build-up to it as well. BT using the whole array of what they have.
It's good. It's good that they bring the other sports in for the big fights. It's good. I like that cross-promotion. Hello, Ramel, Miro TV. Fury mixed it up so good. On some points, he bullies Wilder and mules him. One point, he just wrestles him. One point, he just outboxed him. Mixed bag of tricks. Like when Leonard fought Hearns. Yeah. He has a bit of everything, which a lot of them don't have, do they? Aside from Usyk, he's got a bit of everything. Yeah, absolutely. Honest beyond reasonable. Won't be a fought fight, but if only lost to one guy in 3 years, if you think about it, he's still second best, which, a lot of you are saying this, and it's rightly so. Just depends if he gets next fight. Can he sell fights on KO box office? He can. Look at the people he was fighting. He fought a lot of tin cans in them 42 victories. He had to fight who's been put in front of him at the end of the day, though, to be fair to Wilder. Miro TV, and it looked like he doesn't want to end it early. A match of the year candidate.
Definitely, Chris? Definitely. Yeah, you know what I mean? Match of the decade, let's be honest.
Absolutely. Honest beyond reasonable, but let's face it, the US boxing fan base never knew Wilder, even though he's American. Yeah, they were more about Floyd. I remember Wilder in WWE, and even then, fans didn't know him. One fan thought he was NBA. It's true. It's true. And I think so. I can't remember who was speaking about it on Saturday night. I think it might have been Steve Bunce. He can't understand how Fury's not even more well known in America, Chris. Which he is well known, but he said he should be bigger again. But he should be now off the back of this, shouldn't he?
We missed the Brits in Vegas on the weekend. Massively.
Big time. So, yeah, obviously we had the expats that live out there. But, yeah, imagine like half that arena was people that flew over for the fight. Heels rules. He gives hope to me and my body type, LOL.
Listen, hey, heels rules. I used to be skinny, right? And then I got my missus had kids. Now I've got a dad bod. Now Tyson Fury has a dad bod. Makes me feel like I could accomplish anything. Or, maybe a beer in the two. Like
I've got a bit of timber on the midsection these days. It's age,
we've got
and
nothing.
it's beer.
We've got nothing to prove, lad. That's why.
It's beer. It's beer. It is beer. We know that. Carnage Pain. I love Wolf of Wall Street. I do too. So yeah, Chris making reference to the Wolf of Wall Street. So Carnage Pain.
One of us.
Loads of comments. This is brilliant. To tell you the truth, I can see a 4th fight. If Wilder becomes a threat again, make his way up the ranks. I agree, Chris. Wilder beats Joshua, even if I think he can beat Usyk by just power alone.
That is very possible. But Usyk is like Tyson in that way that I think that the fury of strikes, the technical ability, the IQ of Usyk, I think if he doesn't get caught by Wilder, he could do what Fury did. Other than he couldn't lean on him because, obviously he's a smaller guy, isn't he? They obviously love the B&Q joke.
B&Q, yeah. I hate going around there with the missus. Heels rules. Just want to say Chris and Stu are really good at breaking down the fights. Thank you. Chris is exceptional. I'll tell you now. I'll say right now, incredible. Like, this is why we've done the show. I'm only kidding, Chris. Pete Layton.
Yeah, you'd be nice to the UFC now.
We need to roll to another VT in a minute, Chris. But yeah, all these comments are great.
Right, keep your comments going. Obviously, we have to crack on with the show. We will get back to you.
Are we gonna go with Malik Scott's thoughts first, Chris, rather than Sugar Hills? What do you think?
Just give me a second. I'll just take this off because we don't want that on there.
No problem.
Yeah, we'll go to Malik Scott.
About 5 a.m. No one has slept yet since the fight. I haven't slept yet, Malik. You haven't slept since the Wilder Fury fight. You worked the corner. First of all, I have to commend you on the phenomenal job you did. It was a different Wilder than the first 2 fights.
Yeah, and it was our first camp together with me being his head trainer. I'm beyond proud. I hate, I don't want to sound vanity-wise or nothing like that, but I'm beyond proud of myself on when I was asked to do the job for my brother and everything I gave him so far in such short little time. And I never had no one believe in me like Deontay Wilder, so I'm forever indebted to him. We pushed him during training camp. I continued to work on different things with him. He was able to implement a lot of the things, or a few of the things in the early rounds. Obviously, Fury is, like I've always said in this whole build-up, I never shitted on his skills, shitted on the kind of fighter he was. I've always said he's not good. He's very, very good and damn near great. Well, after tonight, I'm going to consider him a great fighter. And much respect to him, much respect to Sugar Hill and his whole family, wife and kids and everything. And because the real blessing is that there's been a lot of tragedies and everything on these cards. So all these fighters win, lose, or draw. I seen Adam, who fought Robert Helenius after the fight. He didn't look too good, but he's going to be okay now. But man, one hell of a fight. That's what you call a real trilogy. Both guys giving it a day off.
Fight of the year. Everyone said fight of the year. And one of the greatest heavyweight. I talked to Nate Diaz. I spent a lot of time with Nate Diaz. Right? Him and his team told me the greatest fight they ever saw. Greatest fight.
5 knockdowns in 11 rounds, and that's just this fight. And when I tell you,
Nate Diaz even approved of it, Chris. So that tells you all.
I saw Nate comment after the fight, and there was a video of him up. He loved it. Like, Nate Diaz is a fighter's fighter, isn't he? So that's right up his alley.
It's just great. It's just great when you hear off people from another combat sport loving it, as well as they make their money in the field that they do. And to be fair, like you said, 5 knockdowns in 11 rounds. And I think Malik Scott will make him a better fighter, and I think you'll get to see him. I know he's obviously going to go for his power. I get that. That's his thing. But I think maybe we'll see a little bit more from him. It was one fight, and he was against the best of the best. And he was very complimentary to Sugar Hill and Tyson Fury, wasn't he there, Malik?
Let's just hope somewhere in the next week or so, once Wilder's come out of his shell and he doesn't make any excuses up, because you can't use those excuses now. No one drugged your drink. There was no flipping knuckle dusters in the boxing gloves. You know what I mean? Your suit didn't weigh you down. Do you know what I mean? No excuses now. Just come out. I'd like him to just come out and just say, look, Fury was the better man.
You have to do that.
to him.
You have to do that. You have to do that at the end. and just do it at the end of the fight. You know,
didn't want to, did he? He didn't want
Fury,
to.
As much as Fury's called him a shithouse in the build-up and all that.
Everyone is shithouse, doesn't he?
We expect. Just, you know, Fury will tell you about the power, and he's always said, you know, and he said he got hit, you know, that you got hit relatively hard, you know, with those 2 knockdowns. Just like you say, Chris, just come out. You should have come out straight away at the end. That was the time to do it.
I've got one for you, Stuart. Saturday,
all right, okay.
I was building up, watching a load of videos on YouTube. You know, people have YouTube channels, boxing sort of, you know, channels. You know, and these two guys from America, they were watching the videos, and you know, they were making that the Wilders was making truth of all these things that Fury's done to cheat in the fight. And one of the guys come out and says, they were talking about his past opponents, and he goes, Luis Ortiz, if I'm right, yeah? He fought Luis Ortiz?
Yeah, he did twice. He fought Ortiz twice.
And he turns around and goes, he's a better boxer than Fury.
Not a chance.
I thought you'd like that one.
Ortiz rocked him in that first fight, and then the second fight was obliteration on Wilder's part. He really did. You know, he knocked him out in both fights, but Ortiz had quite a bit of success in the first fight. But how you can put him on the pedestal with Fury, Ortiz, no disrespect. He's going to get knocked out by, you know, the mid-level people at heavyweight is Ortiz. And that's no disrespect. That's how you can come out with that. It's just like, it's ridiculous. But people are allowed an opinion.
No, I totally agree. People are allowed an opinion, but you know, when they're absurd like that, to say, you know, Luis Ortiz is a better boxer. If he was a better boxer than Fury, wouldn't he be where Fury is?
What has Ortiz done since the second Wilder fight? Because I'm remiss. I can't remember anything noteworthy. So,
right,
you know, and
I'll move on to
no disrespect.
I'll move on to Sugar Hill.
Yeah.
Thank you very much. It was an exciting night, big night for boxing. And its history and its legacy. And those are the kind of fights that the people want to see, the fans. That's excitement. What time is it? It's knockout time, every time.
You emphasise the point that your fighters, when they're in the ring, they're going for the knockouts. It's what you was brought up to train your fighters on. How pleased were you with the style in which Tyson was able to get Deontay out of the ring, despite his own scares earlier on in the fight?
I mean, I have to be pleased. It's a fight. Deontay is a great fighter, warrior, and never gave up. And he put Tyson to the test. And, you know, I'm very happy with the performance of Tyson Fury, because Tyson had to do what he had to do to win that fight. Different adjustments being made and changing up and going back to the basics, a little simple jab. And when he started jabbing, that took care of the fight pretty much. That was it.
Absolutely.
I popped up in that video then.
I know. Yeah, I didn't cut it in time.
I've just seen a comment from Carnage Payne about David Hay, and I want to bring that up because
bring him in, bring it in. Come on.
His commentary pissed me off over the weekend.
I couldn't believe that they had David Hay on commentary after them ridiculous comments after his crappy fight week before and challenging Fury. Yeah, BT Sports seems to be using him a lot. Let's be honest. Bellew put him into retirement. Let's just get it right here. And and he again he was going for Wilder, and he had to then come out and say, "I made a mistake. You know, I got it wrong." But he seems to be getting punditry and being a boxer, two very different things. I know a lot of the boxers do it, and there's some fantastic ones. But BT Sport, I think they're just looking. It's name value for them. I just think he doesn't really come out with anything noteworthy, does he? So I see what you're saying, Carnage.
Oh, he did my head in. No, it was. Oh, you know what, David Hay, just go away, mate. Right. Anyway, Stuart, we will get back to your comments, everyone.
Are we rolling to the adverts, Chris?
Yeah. If you just give me a second. Right. Okay. Do you want to say anything before I start it?
Fire it up, and then at the other end, I'll say what I need to say.
Okay. This is what's coming up on Power 4 TV.
Absolutely. The fantastic Catch Pro free coronation, which will be available today, and also a free match across the socials, which is North versus Tom Powell. And as you can see, the best in North and established tag team out the heritage, which is Dean Allmark and Jodie Fleisch, some stalwarts in the UK scene who take on, got it, Lycos Gym. That was it. But yeah, sign up $7.99 a month, and you'll get to see Catch Pro free. A new promotion coming out in Manchester. So yeah,
got a question.
Yeah,
who gave that girl the microphone to sing?
That's Lizzie Evo. She's a Liverpudlian, mate. She's yeah.
Oof, you know what? That's in a fucking down. It was like listening to cats screeching.
Lizzie's fantastic. One of the best in the UK. But yeah, questionable with the
singing.
Walk
Yeah,
Alone. Absolutely right.
Well, we don't. I've got something for you, Stuart. Actually.
All right. Okay. Oh, now this, yes. Tommy Fury accepts Jake Paul's new fight offer as contract details reveal. So there we go. When was this announced, Chris?
Over the weekend. I didn't want to tell you this.
I hadn't seen it.
You like to surprise me with things now and again.
Yeah.
All right. So there's no date set. Jake Paul has offered Tommy Fury the mill for the fight. If he wins, he's going to offer him another 500k, and if he loses, he's got to change his name to Tommy Fumble for a year. And supposedly, Tommy Fury's accepted that.
See, he holds all the cards, doesn't he, Jake Paul? You know, he's putting the offer in. But Tommy Fury, I think, I still think he's going to school him. Why are you shaking your head?
I don't think he is.
You don't think he is?
I don't think he is. I saw. Listen, I watching him in that last fight, Stuart. It was poor, awful.
It wasn't great. He was losing to an MMA fighter who fights in Bellator. I can't remember his name now. He had one boxing fight previous and he lost it. He was like 5'5", 5'6". I think it's the same size as bloody Allison. And he couldn't put him away, and he was getting caught as well. His foot movement was terrible. He had no head movement in that fight, and he was getting caught with that overhanded right, inside the pocket. Tommy Fury isn't a boxer, Stuart. Unfortunately, I'm going to tell you this now, Stuart. Tommy Fury is a reality star. It's a bit like Jake Paul in that way, but I think Jake Paul will beat him. I think Jake Paul can get to him. I think Jake Paul's just got to him. I know Brett will be echoing this. Absolutely.
I think for me personally, Tommy Fury isn't the guy, and unfortunately, this is going to light the fire that Jake Paul can now come away and say, "I've beaten a boxer," and
Absolutely.
That's what you don't want, but that's what's there, mate.
I've got to eat humble pie. Are we moving on to UFC Fight Night, Dern versus Rodruguez? Or have you got some comments? Yeah, he's moving on. So as you can see on the judges' scorecards, Chris, which I've taken away from it, Rodruguez 49-46 across the board. There was an onslaught from Rodriguez, wasn't there as well? But the BJJ from Dern as well, Chris.
Yeah.
And then obviously the Muay Thai, which Rodriguez is famed for. She paced herself with it being a 5-rounder, didn't she? You can have no grievance with the scorecards, can you? 49-46.
No. Listen, what I told you last week was what really happened. Rodriguez is, they called her Rodriguez, didn't they, in the commentary?
I think because she's Brazilian, they changed the pronunciation, don't they?
I think they get the pronunciations wrong sometimes, We'll go with Rodriguez because that's pretty much
how we would say it.
Any other football player called Rodriguez, they call it Rodriguez. Listen, Rodriguez was slick on her feet. The combinations, the leg kicks, the pressure she was putting on Mackenzie Dern was just great. It was all that pressure. Mackenzie Dern, though, unfortunately for her, when she came in, when she was striking, it was like she was winging punches and she was getting caught because Rodriguez was watching it. She worked her out. She did get her on the floor, which I didn't think could happen because, we looked at the takedown percentages and the takedown defense percentages of either fighter. She did get her down. She got her in a crucifix that she moved into, which was really good. And it showed the levels of BJJ now of Mackenzie Derners. It was like on her backside. So it was like, you saw like horrible. I don't want to say it the way I say it, but I'm going to say it anyway. So it's through like an arse, basically, where the camera angle was. But she was using it, and it was clever to like use it as an arm bar. So she was stretching out with her feet at the top, and she was pressuring like that. But obviously, Rodriguez got out of it. They didn't go to the floor then, and Rodriguez just lit her up then for the rest of the fight. Rodriguez is on the up, mate. Unfortunately, you know who's champion in strawweight, so
yeah, it's
it's
just any of them women's divisions. If you've got aspirations of getting a belt, I think it's going to be odd. But also, Chris,
it'd be a good fight for Shevchenko.
Mackenzie Dern had a 4-fight win streak snapped as well, didn't she? She was on a run herself, wasn't she? So it's a great victory. Great victory.
Yeah, it's a good scalp for her. And don't forget, Mackenzie Dern was ranked 4th in the fight.
Yeah.
Going into that. So you'd imagine that Rodriguez will take that spot now and see where it goes in the future. Shevchenko needs fresh opponents.
Absolutely.
I know she's good at striking, so it'll be quite interested if they do get it on, how that can translate into the fight. Okay, sure, we do have a shred load of bloody comments again.
Perfect. That's what we need. We need the interaction from the viewers. Absolutely, we do.
Okay. Oh, wait, hold on.
It's all right.
Here we go. I was looking for Brett.
There we go. Jake will smash him up. Yeah, I knew you'd say that. I hope not, but Chris is with you on this one, Brett.
Unfortunately, I just don't think Tommy Fury is a boxer.
Ramel, watch that Dern versus Rodriguez match. Dern striking is so raw. Marina outstriked her. Mad respect to Dern. Potential is there. Just needs to find her striking groove. Chris?
Yeah, no, your wheelhouse is jiu-jitsu. You've spent your life in jiu-jitsu, and that's where she's come from. Rodriguez was on the other side of the feet. She is a striker, and she's got a good takedown defense. So if you can stop someone who's very good at jiu-jitsu, and 9 times out of 10 they're not always great at standing up, you're going to win. Dern can go away and train and get better at striking. You've seen people get better. Damian Maia, wasn't fantastic, but he did get better at striking. Not, he wasn't amazing at striking, but he learned to put combos together. And maybe we'll see where she gets on in the future. Okay, Stu.
Are we going in? Have we got any more before we go into Fight Night Liverpool, the Battle of Liverpool?
We'll go to the Battle of Liverpool, my friend.
Absolutely. What a night in Liverpool. So, Matchroom now on DAZN, fully fledged. Fantastic evening. And I think we'll go to the main event first. Liam Smith, he's fought Canelo. And we did say last week, didn't we, Chris, about Anthony Fowler? Maybe it was going to be a step too much for him because of Smith's experience. And then early on, I'd say the first 4 rounds, Fowler was the better fighter. He was pressing it. He was landing a lot. He did well. He did well early on. But then from the 5th onwards, it was a knockdown from Smith. Great shot, big right hand. And you could just see Smith's experience becoming more and more prevalent as that fight went on. There was no defense from Fowler. The defense was going. Very calculated pressure from Liam Smith. And as we went into the 8th, a left hook on the button from Smith, which he led with his right and then in with the left hook. Incredible. It went how we felt it was going to go. He's boxed a lot more. He's boxed a lot more rounds than Fowler. He's on like over 200 rounds, whereas Fowler's had 80 odd before the fight, Chris. And it showed. Experience showed, didn't it?
He weathered the storm. I'd say from round 1 to 3, Fowler was in control. Fowler was hitting.
He was.
Fowler cut him open. He wobbled Smith with a really good 1-2 in the first round, and I think it was like round about 2-minute mark. Smith was Fowler was really good at his combinations because you could see Smith was coming in high guard, wasn't he, and trying to pressure and get in the inside and hit him with the hooks. But Fowler was really good at setting him up with those combinations in the first couple of rounds. I think it was round 4, and Smith took over then. Then he dropped him twice, didn't he? Finished him with the last one, but Smith was like that pressure coming in high guard and then come over the top of that guard and catching Fowler. But, hats off to Fowler. He gave everything he could in that fight. But as you said, Smith showed experience.
Fowler, I'm not discrediting Fowler either. He had a great amateur pedigree. He came through the Olympics and all that. He's got I just feel he's European level when I watch him. Whereas Smith, Smith's been a world champion. He fought Canelo. He got put down 3 times against Canelo. He's fought people of a level. He had Urbanov as well, the undefeated Russian, which he lost. So he needed this. They both needed to win. But Smith's class and experience definitely prevailed, didn't it, Chris?
Yeah, Fowler pushed him all the way, though. To be fair,
Yeah.
He got dropped. the final drop. So obviously Smith knew he was in a fight in that one, definitely.
Absolutely. Chris, any more comments before I move on? He's doing it. There we go.
No, not the moment, mate.
Williamson and Cheeseman for the British title. So yeah, Williamson 17-0 and with one draw, and now Cheeseman now 16-3. Heavy shots early on from both of these from the first bell. The term that you like to use, Chris, fighting in a phone box, and it was on display. It was on display. I think on the night, this was the fight of the night as well, which, it was great. The undercard was great. Shifting momentum, though, I felt Williamson seized control early. But in the middle rounds, Cheeseman, he started to get back in the ascendancy, and they were in the pocket. They were trading. And then it led to the demise of Cheeseman lose his British title with a huge KO from Williamson in the 10th. I worry about Cheeseman, Chris. I think the amount of shots he takes in fights sometimes, he's out on his shield every fight. But you've got to wonder, some of these guys, you say it in the UFC, don't you? They like to take the shots, but you worry about their brain and stuff like that in later life. You really do. That's what I took away from this.
I think the phrase you're looking for, Stu, is take one, eat one to take one to get one, isn't it? But the Diaz brothers are very known for that.
Williamson was taking him as well, but I just think I've seen Cheeseman a lot of fights.
I think Williamson had the power, though, didn't he? That the finish was brutal. Up against the fence, and they were trading. They were both connecting with each other. But Williamson just had that power and that pop, didn't he? And just hit Cheeseman on the button and turn the lights out. But like I say, the fight was really good. It was like they both were landing, and they were heavy shots. But Cheeseman looked a bit weary at the end. Just before he got dropped. He was getting connected with some really heavy shots. But again, at that last second before he got dropped, he was landing. But I don't think there was any pop in those punches anymore. And Williamson, as you say, just hit him right on the right sweet spot, as they would say, and out goes Cheeseman.
Like the scar tissue around his eyes, Chris, as well, because it's happened so many times. And my worry for him is, it's later life. And I know they want to be exciting. I get all that, and they are, the come forward style, and it's great when you're watching it or you're in attendance at the arena. But yeah, that'd be my worry with that. But not taking anything away from both fighters. But Williamson now British title holder, big step up for him. Fantastic, still undefeated. And moving on, we had Shannon Courtney against Mitchell, the American. But the belt, she was stripped of the belt due to being 2.5 pounds overweight at the 118 bantamweight, super bantamweight allowance. But the fight, Mitchell was still fighting for the belt, Chris. But it was just one-way traffic, this one. Mitchell was just quickest to it. She was backing her up into the ropes, and Courtney looked a little bit off to me, Chris. But it was just I could tell.
She did drop her though. She did.
Yeah,
she did drop her though. But yeah, I get what you mean. I watched the fight just before we went live. I had some busy stuff to do at home, but yeah, you can see the difference. Explain to me: is this what happens in boxing? If you're overweight, you get immediately stripped. Is this something that?
I just thought to myself, well, if she's been stripped, the belt won't be up for grabs, but it wasn't the case. She's lost the belt, but Mitchell can still get it. I think the only thing it would be maybe if she was 2.5 pounds over as well, say, or she was over that 118, where they give you the good grace of a pound either side, like UFC. But she looks good, this girl. I've got to be fair. She did well with pressure. She did well with the pressure fighting. I'm sure Shannon Courtney will come again. These 2-minute rounds that the ladies do are fantastic, though. It's I'm a big believer in the 2-minute rounds of the ladies because they just go hell for leather. They go hell for leather.
Every fight we've covered on the ladies boxing, mate, have been absolutely brilliant. Yeah, really enjoyed them.
The women are amazing. What they can do, they're fantastic. And moving on to a huge card up in Newcastle. So Boxer, who have now took over the rights with Sky Sports, another huge card. And I'm just going to run through. We've got Chris Eubank Jr., who was obviously rescheduled. They've managed to get him a fight 2-3 weeks later, Chris, after his fight was called off, his main event the other week. And we've got Newcastle's own Lewis Ritson. We've got Savannah Marshall as well, defending her title at middleweight. And Hughie Fury against Christian Hamer, Chris. Big test for Hughie Fury. So a solid card up in Newcastle. And as you can imagine, the Newcastle crowd will be amazing for that one. So
well, you know what? I'm sure they'll be happy because if their club's been bought out and now they're the richest club. So,
and sorry,
just something to do with that.
I'll speak about this first. Nothing to do with boxing, but that Prince who's buying Newcastle, same guy that pays WWE WrestleMania money for events there. Imagine if he had a taste for boxing or UFC. It begs the question, doesn't it, Dan? It begs the question, absolutely. Where will they go next with their money?
Well, UFC have just been sold again anyway, so
I
can't see them.
Just going back to Savannah Marshall, who's headlining the card as well, defending her title. If she gets through this one, she will face multi-weight champion Clarissa Shields. There's big implications for her. She's heavy favourite on Saturday, but that'll be the huge fight that she needs, unification as well. And then, as I said, Hughie Fury against the big German power puncher, Christian Hamer, who is 26-7, but he's got 16 KOs on his resume. Christian Hamer, he's fought a lot of the guys that have come through to world title level to win titles. So a big test for Hughie. Hughie's now 25-3 with 14 KOs himself. And then moving on to the local lad, Lewis Ritson. He was touted years ago to be, and he's decent. But against former world title challenger Hank Lundy, who has got a 31-9 record with one draw. And then, obviously, Chris Eubank Jr. as well, who's on the undercard. I think he's on early on this one because they brought him in late against Wanik Avidson, who is 28-1. So a big test for Eubank Jr. Obviously, heavy favourite again. But we look forward to that. I just wanted to go over this quickly. We look forward to that. Boxer have obviously took over with Sky now that Matchroom have gone. So it's really good. A good night on Saturday, Chris. I'll be looking forward to that. Could he do to boxing what Dana has done with the UFC and they all fight for one organisation? Boxing
I can't ever see that. Yeah, I can't see that happening.
It's just years. It's just hundreds of years of lineage. Them boxing boards. We all would love it to all be one and streamlined, but there's so much history to each boxing board. There's no way. You're talking hundreds of years. Chris?
Which way do you want to go? Do you want to do a schedule for boxing or do you want to do for UFC?
Do the UFC because it's just absolutely chock-a-block. Yeah, brilliant. Yeah, Chris has put this on the screen for you. So, as you can see, huge fight between Paulo Costa and Vettori, Chris, which will be at the Apex on the 23rd. So, huge headline of that, Chris.
You know what? Obviously, Paulo Costa's been out since he lost to Adesanya, didn't he? Which, I think he pulled out of a fight against, I can't remember, he was lined up for someone else a few months ago and pulled out. But interesting fight, Vettori is a wrestler and beats you up on the ground. We've seen it. Didn't get that much luck with Adesanya, but Adesanya is, an elite level mixed martial artist. But, he did very well against Kevin Holland. He's done well against Hermanison. He's done really well against oppositions that, aren't really good at holding, aren't very good at sort of takedown defense is the word I'm trying to get at there. Paulo Costa, again, as you know, he's a striker. He's got the jiu-jitsu background. Most Brazilians do, but he's a powerhouse. He's ripped. He's built like, a brick shithouse. He can pack a punch, can Paulo Costa. Just go back and watch some of his old fights before he fought Adesanya, his way up to the title. Good fight that is. It's really interesting. I think this is then your next in lines then, Derek Brunson's up there obviously after beating Darren Till. I think Derek Brunson's been, I think loosely, it hasn't been announced yet, but I think him and Jared are fighting in January.
Wow, what a fight that's going to be.
Cannonier and Brunson. Yeah, I think that's it hasn't been announced yet, but it's rumoured what I've been reading. And obviously, Stuart, UFC 267, 268 back-to-back there, my friend.
Glover Teixeira, he was prevalent many years ago. He was working his way through. He's kind of come out the wilderness and he's got himself into title contention. And now he's got Jan Blachowicz. Blachowicz. I always say Blachowicz, don't I? I don't give it the Polish tongue, do I?
I don't have a Polish tongue.
No, you can.
Yeah, but that's football, I think, Stu, that's made me learn the way of pronouncing people's names, over the years. Jan Blachowicz and Glover Teixeira. Interesting fight, Glover Teixeira's been up there. He's fought John Jones.
Yeah.
He went down on a bit of a skid. He's in his late 30s now, so this is really do or die for Glover Teixeira. But he's got up there, wins over Anthony Smith, Thiago Santos.
Yeah.
He's beating some guys that are on runs at the moment. Thiago Santos just won last weekend. Anthony Smith won the week before that. And they both won convincingly. Okay, Santos's fight last week wasn't great, but a win's a win at the end of the day. So he's on a roll. Jan Blachowicz is coming off beating Adesanya, which in itself is amazing. Peter Yan versus Corey Sanhagen would have been Aljo.
What a fight. What a fight that is. What a fight. What a fight.
Where's TJ Dillashaw is what I want. Where's TJ Dillashaw? You would have thought Peter Yan, TJ Dillashaw makes sense, seeing TJ beat Corey in the last fight. Obviously, I could say Aljo's still holding on to that Oscar-winning performance. How he won the title against Peter Yan. Still to this day thinks he was winning that fight. Me and you both watched that fight. We both know Peter Yan was winning that fight. Peter Yan is the champion of that division. Well and truly, get that title back. Volkov versus
Tybura. Tybura.
He is the only other person in the heavyweight division that's on a winning streak other than our own. So, maybe we can get a big fight after this one. I don't know, actually, because the heavyweight division is so up in the air at the moment because of, obviously, Garn and Ngannou and Miocic and I don't know what, with John Jones down, mate, with all that shit in Vegas. I don't know if you've seen it. I watched a video of him getting arrested by the police and they're making him, count backwards, walk steps, in front of each other. Yeah. He just keeps doing it to himself, Stuart, over and over again. And it frustrates me. This guy is an icon, icon-ish, but he's one of the best mixed martial artists of graced UFC for a very long time. And he keeps doing stupid shit. He needs to get his head down. Otherwise, I can see Dana White's going to be like, enough's enough eventually.
It just gets more and more severe every time he appends the law, mate. But yeah, moving on. Li Jingliang versus Kazmat Chimaev, who you're very high on Chimaev, aren't you? He's one of your ones, isn't he?
Kazmat Chimaev, he's been up for a while. Obviously, got COVID. He was supposed to face Leon Edwards the back end of last year, and then it was rebooked. But they both got COVID in between. Kazmat, I think, carried on training through it and got worse in the illness. So he's been off since October of last year, maybe November. So he's been off for quite a while. This is a winnable fight for Kazmat Chimaev. He's like a reincarnation of Khabib, just heavier. You'll see this. Li Jingliang, still good though. He's got great striking. He's powerful. But I think Kazmat Chimaev is going to take him down and beat him up. And then
Volkan Oezdemir, Chris, who was heavily touted,
back in
more recent times against Magomed Ankalaev. But yeah, Oezdemir was up there, wasn't he, at one time?
Got a title shot against Daniel Cormier, did Volkan Oezdemir. And he knocked out a lot of fighters on the way. They called him, he always had this time, because he was knocking people out so quickly. Unfortunately, he fought Daniel Cormier. Daniel Cormier, beat him up, used his wrestling and beat him up that way. But, it's good to see him coming back. He fought Yorio Procheka on his debut. So, and Magomed Stewart is a training partner of Khabib as well, by the way.
Oh my God, it's heavy. It's heavy with the Khabib. Is that called? And moving on, Chris, back to Madison Square Garden. It's been great having shows there since they, broke back into New York with the athletic commissions and all that. But yeah, UFC 268. I know you're excited for this one as well. As you can see across the board, I'll just run through it quickly. Kamaru Usman versus Colby Covington. Well, need we say more? It's the rematch. Rose Namajunas, champion obviously against Zhang Weili after a fantastic performance against her. They're fighting again. Justin Gaethje versus Michael Chandler. Well, that's a puncher's dream, that one. When I'm looking at that one, and Sean Strickland against Luke Rockhold. What a card, Chris! And I'll take it to you now.
Listen, Stuart, I love Usman. I think Conor Usman this year alone has shown so many steps forward. Just the striking department, the power he's putting in. We all know his wrestling credentials. We've seen Usman versus Kobe Covington. We saw how that panned out. Kobe was the closest fight for Usman than every fight he's had since he became champion. And he pushed him. But, Usman's got that power. He broke his jaw it's going to be an incredible fight. But just see what changes Kobe Covington has made, to try and beat Usman in this fight, where Usman is just getting better and better, mate. Absolutely atrocious in that division.
As you've said about Covington, probably one person who did very, very well against him. I know he ended up getting the loss, but you said Covington did do some damage himself. He did do some damage in that fight.
Then we move on to Rose versus Zhang. Right, okay.
Absolutely.
We didn't see not a lot in this fight. Their first fight, it was very tentative, and then Rose did that high to low kick. She dropped Zhang Weili, and then it was over. Rose Namajunas is a top dog. I still like Zhang Weili. I think she's still a very, very good fighter. But I just want to see this fight go a bit longer, just to see where what we can see. Can Rose live with Zhang Weilei's striking? Because Zhang Weilei's striking is absolutely fantastic. We know what Rose is good at. Rose is quick. She's lightning fast. She can, like she saw in the first fight, she can move her kicks up and down. We want to see a bit more Zhang Weili and see what she can do to Rose. But obviously, I'm not going to make a prediction because we're too far out at the moment.
That's fine. That's fine.
I got it wrong the first time. And then Justin Gaethje, Michael Chandler Stewart. Well, let's just say another promotion's dream, really. One from Bellator, one from World Series of Fighting, which obviously is now debunked. But Justin Gaethje was the champion there. Michael Chandler was the champion Bellator. They're now in the UFC. They both come away from, both losing their title challenge fights. This is, as you say, this is a striker's wet dream, but they both can wrestle as well.
That, isn't it? It's going to be brilliant. Right, that's ticking all the boxes for me. And then, Chris, Sean Strickland versus Luke Rockhold.
A returning Luke Rockhold, because don't forget, Rockhold hasn't fought for a very long time. Sean Strickland's been on I think he's on like a 4-fight winning streak, not losing streak. He's had a lot of things to say about Luke Rockhold. Can't say what he said because they're quite bad, but we'll see what Luke Rockhold's still got. Has he still got it? Because, the last couple of fights, Jan Blachowicz knocked him out. Romero knocked him out. Michael Bisping knocked him out. Hasn't fared very well since the Michael Bisping fight as Luke Rockhold. I think he's won one fight since, and that was against Michael Branch. Like I say, Sean Strickland's a very tall dude, and he uses his size, his range, his kicking, his wrestling, and his striking. Uses it all really well. For me, though, Sean Strickland's been around for a very long time, so it's good to see him finally break into the top 10. We've got the debuts of Ian Geary, the second coming of Irish MMA. I'm telling you now, Ian Geary is on that card. He's on the prelims. Make sure you watch Ian Geary because he's going to blow your mind. And we've got Alex Pereira, who's the last person to KO Adesanya. He's also making his debut on that card. Ooh. Also fighting at middleweight. So maybe, just maybe.
Yeah, they might. It might align. The
narrative might.
Again.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Chris, don't worry about the boxing schedule. We'll do that next week because we've done quite a bit there on UFC. It's fine. Next week, we'll go through what's coming up in the boxing because we wanted to bring a little bit of the UFC to you this week to close out, didn't we, Chris?
Yeah, there hasn't been much on, to be honest with you. Last weekend was okay. It was a good card, but I wanted to give Fury and Wilder the space it needs because what a fight it was, and there was a lot to talk about. So we've got two big cards coming in the UFC, so we've got a lot of we've got a lot to write, haven't we?
Absolutely, and what a weekend that was. Incredible in boxing. It was just amazing. Even at the Liverpool show, which was they all really delivered, and it was good to see 10,000 in the M&S Bank Arena, which is it's always good to see. You need to get to a show, I do. But Chris, where can the viewers and the listeners find you? Because we're now on the podcast platforms.
Yeah, I put the link in the description for Apple and Spotify. So once Stuart cuts this up, because we can only get an hour, Stuart will sort this out and bang it into the audio form. You don't have to sort of watch us live now. You can listen to us on audio whenever you want, walking the dog, in work, sitting on the bus, in your car, lying in bed, cooking your tea. What's it not together like? But you can listen to us anywhere now. You can catch me. Go on.
No, you carry on, mate. I jumped in. Do your socials.
You can find me on Instagram at VanHume86. You can find me on Twitter at VanHume. in the description below. You can find me and Stuart on Big Fight Weekly, Powered 4's Big Fight Weekly on Facebook. It's there along your screen. Go in the bottom. Put that link in. You can find us there.
And I've been Stuart Palmer, and my latest episode for Stu's Wrestling Podcast is with Keith Elliott Greenberg, a steam writer, New York Times bestseller. He's done loads of stuff. He did like the true crime series, like America's Most Wanted years ago as well. So, he's known for his wrestling writing, and he's a fantastic writer, but he's done a lot in TV as well. And then he went to the tribute to the troops in Iraq with WWE years ago. So some great stories, and he's talking about him and Mick Foley, which is, so I really do implore you to check out my episode with Keith Elliott Greenberg, because one of the most beloved writers in wrestling, fantastic broadcaster. So we don't just talk about wrestling in my episodes, you see. You get a bit of everything. We encompass everything. And we'll be back next Tuesday, won't we, Chris, at 4:00?
Yeah, back next Tuesday. Looking forward to it, mate.
Absolutely. We have been Powered4.tv Big Fight Weekly with myself, Stuart Palmer, and my co-host and cousin, Chris Hume. And we will see you next Tuesday at 4 p.m. for Powered4.tv Big Fight Weekly.
See you next Tuesday.